I feel like my check engine light is on all the time. I have held down a job for the past 11 years. I am 29 years old, and I have moved up at my job considerably, but I feel lost when it comes to most adult responsibilities. I do not have any savings aside from my retirement plan. I am still renting, and I have recently developed a serious gambling addiction in the last 6 months. I want to improve, but it is hard for me to take the small steps needed to get better. Story 1. I will be 44 in a couple of months. I will update when I figure this out. I take the fact that I am still in the emotional, financial, and physical state I am in as proof that time travel will not be available to me during my lifetime. Story 2. I was a clown until I turned 30. Then one day, I woke up and realized I was the drunk friend of everyone who had wives, children, and houses. Story 3. I was turning 30 when I realized that despite working really hard, I had zero savings and a lot of chaos in my finances. I started consuming personal finance books and also many books about minimalism, organization, and goal setting. I am turning 40 this year with a massively grown business, a paid-off house, and $200,000 in my retirement. I am the poster child for what Bill Gates said: most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Story 4. Your last few sentences explain all your problems. You know what the issue is. Do something about it. Fix your addiction, you fix your life. Story 5. Probably in my late 20s or early 30s is when I started to figure it out. However, life happens, and I have had to reset my career path a couple of times. With any luck and continued determination, I will be where I want to be in the coming years. Career aside, I feel better just knowing what my goals are. Many of us struggle with some form of addiction. I highly suggest doing whatever you need to do to overcome your gambling addiction. Story 6. Just wait until you get a house. Every time your savings get nice, something will break in your house and fix that for you. Story 7. You have kept a job for 11 years. That is having your life together. Feeling lost does not mean you are failing. It means you care enough to want better. Start small. You are not alone. Story 8. Bro has 401k savings. I could live with that. Instead, I have massive debts and I am probably doomed until I die. Story 9. At 42, I am still working on it. Whenever I think I have it, I realize I absolutely do not. The key is to do your best and keep growing as a person. The minute you think you are the best and there is nothing left to learn or room to grow, you lose. Story 10. Past the age of 40, I experienced severe depression and was surrounded by people who took advantage of me because of it. Story 11. Being organized is more a state of mind than a state of a bank account. I have come to expect that my needs and wants will always grow to be larger than my income. Living is surviving. I am surviving pretty well despite always being in debt. But I am always paying toward the right debts at the right times. Credit score above 800. I figured it out in my early 30s. You do not have to get ahead. You do not even need to catch up. You just need to keep running. Story 12. I think I was born old. Being the oldest child of 4 and taking on adult responsibilities while watching my poorly planning parents struggle helped. Story 13. Like with any addiction, stop gambling and your life will be better. Your brain recalibrates, and you find joy in normal productive activities. Remove toxic habits and people from your life. Your 20s were stressful, your 30s better, and your 40s pretty chill. The dedication in your 20s allows you to relax when you are older. Story 14. Parents kicked me out because I had no plans, so I joined the military. It forced me to get my life together. Story 15. I am 34 years old, make $400,000 a year, max out all retirement accounts, have my own S corporation, and still feel like I do not have my life together. Maybe my alcoholism or gambling issues make me feel like I have yet to grow up. Story 16. I did nothing with my life. No driver's license. Living in my mom's apartment. No job, selling marijuana to smoke and buy snacks until I was 25. Now I am 33, so that's 8 years. I got my driver's license, then I got a job as an apprentice. I met my wife, got my journeyman's electrical license, then my master's electrical license. Now I own a business and have 2 work vans on the road with 2 employees. I am a licensed contractor in 2 states. My wife and I own a house and have a wonderful child. My life is amazing. This is not to boast, just to say it can happen at any age. Just keep pushing, brother, and it will happen. Story 17. Go to any 12-step program available for gambling. Start there. I stopped drinking, and many positive things began to fall into place. Story 18. A health scare did it for me at 28 and a half years old. Scared straight, as they say. So now I am taking it more seriously. All the vices, all the poor dieting, everything. Failures will still occur, but it is about remaining aware of them and resolving yourself back. Again and again. That is more about the addiction piece. Overall, to get your life together, you have to choose a purpose. Yes, a conscious choice, and make plans to achieve it. The difficulty is consistency. Surprise. The society we currently live in is built to make consistency difficult if you adopt a "the environment defines me" mentality. So, if you were to challenge your identity and instead of saying, "I am still renting," because it sounds like you think you need a house and mortgage because some people have said it is better for your future, whatever that means, you can die tomorrow and so can they. Ask yourself what it is that you actually want and figure that out. Then go do it. Story 19. I can put my hand on my heart and say that it's only been about 3 years for me. I was 35. I have 2 kids, am married, have a mortgage, savings, pension, and all sorts lined up well. But my personality, demeanor, application, understanding, and long-term thinking constantly went between the ridiculous and the sublime. At 35, I decided that enough was enough. I took work more seriously, lost a lot of weight, still need to figure out exercising because that is non-existent, and decided it was time to try to get to my best. My kids are getting older and they'll take their norms and values from my example. At 36, diagnosed with severe attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and medicated. That really changed my life. At 37, diagnosed as autistic. That has made the past year or so much easier. A lot of it was my fault, but not all of it. I've done therapies and am still doing some intense therapies at the moment for complex post-traumatic stress disorder. For the past couple of years, I've run a large project as a voluntary development plan. I have mentors, sponsors, and a lot more to do for no additional money. But long-term, I've picked up skills, contacts, and the evidence I need for accelerated promotion schemes. There's no age you have to have it done by. There's no property, marriage, kids, pets, cars, or anything else you can just tick off a list. For me, getting things together was all about losing other people's expectations, getting rid of people around me who weren't really friends, didn't want to grow or improve, and stripping away all of the elements that weren't really me. People might not like me. I don't always like me. But when I put my head on the pillow at night, I'm honest with myself and others. Those who stay are loved with it all, and those who go are thanked for the memories and the lessons. Story 20. Having your life together is relative and often temporary. I thought I had my life together at 17. I had my own place, a good job, good luck with the ladies. I had it all figured out. I got fired during the recession of 2008 and felt like I didn't have my life together for years after. Then I started dating a woman 12 years older than me at 22. We moved in together, got married, bought a house, and had a child. I thought I had my life together. Things in the marriage went sour. I felt like I couldn't do anything right, like I didn't have my life together. We got divorced. She got the house. I ended up staying with my dad for 8 months and definitely felt like I didn't have my life together. I got a new place, a new car, and a new girlfriend. My bills are paid. I'll be able to buy a house next year. I feel like I have my life together, or at least I am on the way to having my life together again. Life will throw curveballs at you. Just keep getting up, dusting yourself off, showing the people you love that you love them. Ask for help when you need it. Give help when you can. Things will turn out okay. Story 21. Life is a constant battle, but all you can do is your best and hope things work out. After that, there is not much you can do but enjoy the hand you are dealt. We only get one shot. Live the best you can live. Like the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. Your version of having your life together is different from what others might see. I am 23 and dropped out of college in my second year for financial reasons. Now I am a foreman at a landscaping company. All my bills are paid. I rent a nice place, drive a nice car, and have a great partner by my side. My friends my age own houses, make six figures, and rotate partners weekly. Depending on what kind of person you are, one life may seem better than the other, but I am happy where I am and happy to keep improving. Story 22. I am 25 and working on it. The last several months have seen me get my first apartment with my girlfriend, secure a stable and reliable job, and start to take life more seriously. I also lost several thousand from my savings and am still struggling to keep up with bills and start building that up again. I am starting, but there is a long way to go before I consider my situation to be together. There is also the apparent reality that I will never have my situation fully together, which I think is true for most people. We are all just trying our best in a world that has never really had clear answers on how best to do things. Ultimately, make sure you are taking care of yourself and being present for your loved ones. Those things should always be the top priority. Everything else comes after. Story 23. Honestly, around 27. The lease was up on the shared house the guys and I from college lived in, and this was just before the Great Recession. I had a sense it was going to be bad, so I moved back home with my father. I spent the next 4 to 5 years paying off my student loans, setting aside a fixed amount from every paycheck to buy a house, investing that money, earning a graduate degree, paying off my car, learning about fashion, picking up a very social hobby, working out, and generally trying to improve myself. Paid off by the time I was 34. Story 24. I am 35 and had an issue with gambling, including dice, cards, and sports betting. I started with penny stocks and learned how stock trades worked. This cured the illegal gambling habits and has helped me build a nice portfolio. Good luck, Reddit friend. Story 25. Around age 27 or 28, I started dating my wife and realized that if I wanted a family with her, I had to make some changes. Look at the life you want in the future and then work backwards step by step to see what you need to do to get there. Stay focused on that every day. Even at age 55, I still examine my life in my head a few times a week to see if I'm still focused on the end result. Right now, it's getting my sons through college and then retiring. Max out your retirement savings plan. You aren't going to see a large return in your 20s because it's based on what you'll have in 25 to 30 years, not what's in there now. Max out your contribution, plan your investments, and then forget about it. When you think about how much you make, don't include that money. Save for a house. Make it like a car payment into a savings or money market account. It might be $100 a month or $500 a month, whatever works. Control your gambling. Give yourself a limit you can lose every month. Once you reach that limit, you are done for the month. Focus on where you want to be and never look away. Story 26. I got it together at 25. First house, major job, engaged. I really got it together at 35. Now in my 40s, I want even more and everything is going by so fast. Don't be like me. Enjoy every stage you are in. I wish I had enjoyed more. The secret is we never really get it completely together in all aspects of life. Choose wisely what you put your energy into. Story 27. Literally at 50, I had worked for myself for almost 2 decades. I got behind on taxes. In my 40s, I started therapy, and in my 50s, I joined Al-Anon. I finally reached a place where I was comfortable in my skin, went back to the corporate world for a steady paycheck, got my taxes taken care of, and ended a long-term on-again, off-again relationship. I feel like now, even with a couple of setbacks, I can say today I have my life together. Hopefully, I will tomorrow too, and so on. Story 28. I was 28, and the few years afterward were difficult. My mom died when I was 9, and I never really dealt with it. I experienced severe clinical depression and spent many years below the federal poverty line during my 20s. I failed out of college and was essentially homeless for almost a year. State Medicaid and federal Pell Grants saved my life. I entered therapy, spending 5 years attending sessions weekly and eventually bi-weekly. I also took medication and went to aircraft mechanic school, all for free because of tax-funded benefits. I am now 39, earn over six figures in a job where I am well respected, and recently traded in a BMW 3 Series for an Alfa Romeo. Keep going, use every available system of help within your reach, and do your best to keep your chin up. Story 29. I got a college education and went immediately into work in my chosen field. I got married at 30, started a family at 32, bought houses, sold houses, and moved from the Midwest to Santa Monica. It was all coming down around me at 57 years old, mostly because of my alcoholism. I started getting some of my life together at 59 with the help of other alcoholics in Alcoholics Anonymous. Life could have been beautiful if an addiction hadn't kept the warning light on for about 15 of those years. You're doing pretty well with your job and retirement savings. If you want peace, I suggest you get help with your addiction. If things don't get better, you can always go back. Story 30. Sometimes the word addiction can be an excuse to give away your personal control. Just do not gamble today. Then do not gamble tomorrow. And then get up each day after that and do not gamble. There you go. You no longer gamble, especially if you are worried about your finances. You know what you have to do. Just do it. Story 31. Probably 32 for me. There was no sudden change. It was just slightly better. I wanted more out of life and started realizing how much my actions affected my success. I went through two phases. The first was at 27, when my little sister got married, and I brought my 5-year-old cousin to my poor living situation where I lived with a couple of girls. I was embarrassed and knew I needed to turn my life around by stopping drinking and partying every night. Then again, at 32, after a 4-year divorce, I woke up one morning wondering, what am I doing? And started paying more attention to what was happening around me. Story 32. I am 22 and I do not think I have my marbles together, but I have some of them in the same room with me at least. Some of those marbles are lying around in other rooms, some are under the couch, and some are missing. I do not think I know it yet. If you think about it, are we ever supposed to have all our marbles in one place? Because if all I have to do is put them together, I would end up just sitting still with nothing else to work on, nothing else to look for. I hope there are many things I need to get together. Story 33. Maybe like 27? I was with the woman I pretty much knew I would marry, my savings looked healthy, and most importantly, I think I stopped being so cocky about various things in my life. I learned my limitations where I needed to improve, and also understood that there are still things I can be confident about, but those things don't have to be shouted from the rooftops demanding respect. I just now bought a house with my wife several years later. Renting doesn't mean you don't have your life together. Even when I got out of college, it was still a few years before I actually felt like I had figured out how to be an adult without kids. I'm in a good place now in my early 30s, and I feel like I am who I'm going to be and who I was meant to be. As someone who had a minor gambling problem, I wish I could give you better advice that you probably haven't already heard, but there are also professionals out there who can help. I don't know what your gambling vice is, but I do know I had several small ones and all of them had the same problem of trying to win my losses back. That sinking feeling you get when it starts to spiral killed me, and the only way you can think of to fix it is to keep digging, which 99 out of 100 times makes things worse. Keeping to a strict cash budget when I would gamble was a huge help for me. I set it at $200 and would just keep that exact same remaining cash from visit to visit. If my bankroll ran out, I didn't allow myself to bet for 2 months. I know it's not that easy for everyone, but it helped me pace myself better. If you need to stop cold turkey, then do what you need to do. Gambling addictions are not taken as seriously as they should be. Story 34. This is a fun thought process for me. I tend to never realize in the moment how far I have come or appreciate the work I have put in to get to this point. I just turned 39. From 16 to 29, I was angry at the world. I didn't really care about others or even myself. I never put a second of thought into my future. I failed out of 3 different colleges, 2 universities and a community college, and assumed I was at my peak in terms of money and lifestyle. Around 30, I started to realize the skills I had developed throughout my life, with a major one being my communication skills and ability to relate to all walks of life. An older friend gave me an opportunity at a company where he worked. He opened a door at the very ground level. I still had to interview, and I started in the warehouse just cleaning parts. I worked my way up from the absolute ground floor and was promoted time and time again simply by working harder than everyone around me. I never thought I was smarter or better. I just knew showing up was more important than anything. People started to notice my work ethic and potential. I then began to receive opportunities one never dreamed of. I capitalized on these and pushed hard for what I wanted through a couple of different companies to get me to today. 3 years ago, I bought a home with my girlfriend at the time. The next year, we got married. I'm trying to say in a long story that I really came into my own in my 30s. Therapy helped a lot with understanding self-worth. My wife is a constant reminder of what I now want my future to hold. From an angry kid alone to an established engineer with a wife is pretty great. Story 35. Well, I am 65 now, but when I was in high school and even in grade school, I worked and saved all of my money up to about $20,000. I bought my first home with 40 acres right on the river. I could fish salmon and steelhead right off my own property. My friends used to make fun of me because I worked so much. But I was glad that I did because it enabled me to do a lot of things later in life. The house cost me about $300,000. It was a great deal of responsibility for an 18-year-old, but I still worked very hard. I paid off the house within 5 years. I sold the house when I was 50 years old for around $850,000. I think it was a pretty good investment. Story 36. I am 30 and I am only just starting to get my life together. I got a job welding and realized I love it, so I am trying to do it as a side gig now and maybe turn it into my full-time job. Story 37. I am 51 and I still feel like I am trying to get everything packed up. Spoiler alert. You will never get all of your things together. Something is always going to be a mess, even if it is not your fault. Story 38. I was 41. I left a horrible marriage and rebuilt myself, my career, my social circle, and my health. It is never too late. Sometimes it really is just the environment that needs to change in order to kickstart the rest. I thrive in routine now, work out every day, get amazing sleep, and have deep connections with my boyfriend, coworkers, and friends. It is so worth the effort. Go for it. Story 39. A lot of men begin getting mentally and emotionally more mature, thinking about the future seriously around 25 or 26. This is a universal phenomenon, but addictions to things like drugs, smoking, alcohol, video games, or even casual sex with random women you are not committed to can set adult men back years, if not over a decade, in development and maturity. Do not overcomplicate it. When men talk about getting your stuff together, it essentially means eliminating all bad habits, distractions, and time wasting, and filling your life with great habits and a great lifestyle, such as adventure sports, spending more time in nature, or socializing with real people. It involves having a way to financially provide for a family, taking care of yourself well and everything you own, your car, your household, or the place you are renting, and so on. Essentially, it is just learning and having a lot of useful skills to have in life. When women see a man they find physically attractive and attractive in many other areas, and he has a lot of life skills that make them feel secure and like he is a competent, confident man, they feel like they can just jump in his lifeboat and give themselves to him since he can be a great father and husband for them long term. When they see the man's inner life is a mess, at best they just use him for casual fun, then ghost or dump him and move on, not wanting any attachment or commitment from him. All the smart and wise women do this anyway, or better yet, do not even get involved with the guy at all if his inner life does not match his external appearance. Story 40. I was probably 48 years old. Could have been from my early 30s, but I made, with hindsight, a poor choice of partner. My partner complicated matters and distracted me. Along with her poor habits, it led me to spend lots of money I had made in my 30s. Some money was spent for noble reasons. Some of it was wasted. By my 40s, it was too late with my now wife. My career stalled, and the financial discipline I had started was well and truly compromised by her bad habits outweighing my better habits. I can only blame her so much, though. I followed her when it became a move to this location or the marriage was over. By my late 40s, I was divorced. She took half of what was left. I was broke and my career was basically restarting in something I could make work in the small town I had ended up in. Do I regret things? Very much. We're all just kids playing adults. However, there are some adult things we can all learn that are not difficult. You know what they are, even if you don't know some of the finer details. Saving for retirement is one of them. Don't be daunted by the options. Just put money in a savings account for now, even if that account is at another bank so it's hard to access. In a year or two, you will have thought about it, learn things, and understand a little more about what some adults would do with it. So you do that. Next year, you learn something new. Suddenly, you find you are doing something that, to an outsider, looks suspiciously adult. Oh, last thing, your choice of partner will be the biggest financial decision you make in your life. Story 41. I am 33 and still haven't paid off my debts. This year, I have really tried to reduce my debts, which were not that much to begin with, to be honest, and I am saving more. One thing at a time. I set small goals and quit gambling. Story 42. I thought I had my life figured out. Blue-collar business owner, wife, and 3 kids. Decent vehicles, business building up until no more work. Moved back home, ended up in a divorce, got in a car accident, followed by a second car accident. I totaled the truck and had imaging done, followed by a second imaging that revealed most of my physical problems over the last 12 years. A large benign tumor near the spine. Potential layoff in July. I'm really excited to get surgery, though. I feel like it may be the start of a new chapter. And hopefully I'll feel better and can do more. I hope to have my life together in 3 to 5 years. Being 33 to 35 years old will be golden. Story 43. That is the thing. Nobody ever gets everything together. Not all of it and not all in one place. You have to pick which things to get together, when, and how. Everyone is just bumbling through. Story 44. Haha, everything together. I am 42, a college graduate, and I work several jobs. I am a responsible person and do my best to take care of everything in my life. I go to bed by 9 and wake up early in the morning. I make sure at least 6 people eat a good meal every day. But at no point have I ever felt like I have everything together. When the first things go wrong, everything will crumble. Story 45. Tricky question. I am 36, and every now and then I think about how much more together I have become. For the sake of responding, I would say 27 to 28 is when I started to feel much more in control of key areas of my life. Story 46. Around 25 years old, I managed to get an office job, bought my first car, and started dating, which was non-existent for me before. Story 47. I went from essentially homeless to a married man with 2 children, 2 cars, a house, a stay-at-home wife, and an investment portfolio between the ages of 28 and 35. I hesitate to say this because I do not want younger men to get the wrong idea, but everything changed when I met my wife. We shared the same goals, values, desires, and work ethic to make it happen. Before I met her, there was not much drive or happiness in having any responsibilities or long-term goals because my life never required stability. Not having anyone to share those things with felt empty. Story 48. 19 if we count finding our direction. 22 if we count moving out and being totally self-reliant and self-sufficient. Story 49. Getting your life together is a myth. I am about to turn 48, and every time I think I have things figured out, something new comes along to disrupt it. I believe life is about being adaptable and learning how to handle situations when you do not have everything under control. Story 50. 25 years old, honorable military service record, 4-year degree, a steady job, continuing college coursework, and striving to improve. I am still working on it, and I do not believe things will come together until I am fully retired, sitting in the backyard of a Lakeview retirement home, fishing and hunting for 2/3 of my life. Story 51. You can only ever know in hindsight. I have fallen down several times. I am 52 years old now and just trying to get back up again. Story 52. I had my life together until I was 30. Then life gave me a forced hard reset. Sometimes things just happen, and all you can do is react to them. Story 53. 26. Working at a job I hated, yet I had my government-issued bill completely untouched. I graduate this fall and will be doing a paid internship for my tribe this summer that will hopefully lead to a job. There was no excuse for me to stay in the cycle of doing nothing with my life. I just had to get off my ass and go for it. Story 54. While I was still a teenager, I sold grilled cheese sandwiches on the Grateful Dead tour. Before Jerry Garcia passed away when I was 20, I had already saved $90,000 in the bank. I then used that money to invest in real estate in Northern California and have since flipped enough properties to only work jobs I truly enjoy while still attending as many concerts as possible. For me, it was when I was 20. Story 55. I got my life together but forgot where I put it. In all honesty, having the house, mortgage, high salary, and looking the part did nothing for me as an individual with emotional needs. I was neglecting those needs without realizing it. I am 43 now and have given up the high salary to have less stress and focus on processing the abuse I endured as a child. Story 56. 29. I found real career success in a field I enjoy, became self-sufficient, met the most amazing woman who I will be marrying, and stopped comparing my position to others. The most important thing here is you need to stop your gambling addiction now. I know it is easier said than done, but attend the meetings. Go to one every day if necessary. I have seen gambling destroy lives faster than any drug or family issue. You will never get your life together before that. You will not have money, no decent woman will want to be with a gambling addict, and if you do not address this now, you will spend the next decade trying to recover. Story 57. 30. Married with a child on the way. The job was okay, but I knew it was not enough. I made a change and it was hard at first, but it was right. Now I earn enough. Story 58. Having children helped me get my priorities straight. Family comes first, job later. Some friends still overwork themselves while their children grow up without them playing a part in their lives. Finances improved when I started tracking my spending with an application. Comparing monthly and annual spending with value helped me adjust my priorities again. Story 59. I was probably around 18 when I went to college. I was paying for it and realized that if I did not do things right, I would be throwing away my time and money. Story 60. It comes in bursts. Sometimes you have everything, and all it takes is 2 or 3 things stacking on each other to create an unraveling mess. The important thing is being able to pick up the pieces and try building something new. Story 61. You have a job and rent paid. What you do with your money is your business. $50 to $100 each pay, straight into your savings, adds up over time. It becomes addictive to start saving money when you begin seeing results. You can still gamble, but give yourself a realistic amount to spend on something you might not make back. I am 25, and over the last year, I have been saving as much as possible, $250 to $500 a week, consistently. I am proud of myself. I still rent and I am only part-time, but it feels good to have a safety net of money. Good luck. You are doing great. Story 62. 26 is when I think I started to be proud of myself. I graduated college late after nearly failing due to partying and emotional problems. I got a really good job after working for a place that took advantage of me for a while. I got dumped by a girl who was genuinely holding back, but it only helped me find myself. Years of therapy and letting go of trauma began to click, and I was able to become a more genuine and healthy person. I started building meaningful relationships with the people around me. 26 might be young to say I had it together. I am almost 30 now, but I can look back at that point as forming the true foundation of the man I am today. I owe it all to therapy and suggest all men attend. It was the single best thing I could have done for myself. Story 63. Job-wise, I have always been organized. Relationship-wise at 26. Money-wise, I have always contributed to my 401k. As far as savings, about 29. Story 64. I was 33 when my first child was born. It suddenly dawned on me that I needed to get my life together for real. Story 65. Bachelor's degree at 21, master's degree at 25, bought a house at 25, paid it off at 35, found out what the simulation was all about at this age too. Smooth sailing since then. Story 66. I would say around 28 to 29 after I started taking antidepressants. I began working out and improving my health. I do not think money matters much. I focus on physical and mental health. Story 67. Getting yourself together isn't a one-time event. It's a slow, clumsy process with relapses, resets, and the occasional "what am I doing" moment at 3 a.m. I didn't really start getting mine in order until I was 32. What helped? Stopping the self-shame spiral and picking one thing to fix first. Not everything, just one. You're not broken, you're overloaded. And overwhelmed doesn't mean incapable. Story 68. Still haven't. But I do know adulting is just a list of daily tasks. If you can make good ones and get them all done, you're better off. Story 69. It's the gambling that will keep you stuck. It's squandering away the hours that might have been worthwhile. I'm glad you're quitting. No good can come from it. I encourage you to know that you are always moving forward unless you stay stuck by giving in to your addiction. You're never standing still. Trust your life's journey and keep putting one foot in front of the other. It may feel like you're standing still, but you're not. Someone's grandma has just given you a virtual hug. Story 70. At 31, I had an epiphany about my life and how it was going. I've made a complete turnaround, and among my siblings, cousins, and friends, I am doing the best financially, mentally, and physically as well. I no longer have to wonder if I can pay for something. I don't even think about money like that anymore. I don't use automatic payments, so I do think about when to pay bills. I like to handle that myself to make sure it gets done. Life is good right now, but I want to make it even better for myself and my family. That is the next goal: how to continue to rise. Story 71. Getting your life together is a process. The first step was at 24 or 25 when I got a job. The second step was around 26 or 27 when I started studying what I wanted to do while working. The third step was probably getting my current job, then moving out. Now I am 31 with a career and some savings. I can afford anything I want. My mom is healthy, I have a girlfriend, and I still have some things to figure out. But looking back to my 24-year-old self, who sometimes contemplated ending things, to now thinking about getting a house, it is good enough for now. Story 72. I got remarried and now I have 6 mouths to feed instead of 3. I work every day to provide a financial safety net in case something happens to me. Story 73. I think most people who say they feel lost do so because they do not have a direction or goal to move toward. Most people do not feel lost during their school years because the path is clear and you just need to follow it. Once you become an adult, you have to choose your own path. Sometimes the issue is analysis paralysis. People stay in the same place because they do not know which direction to go in. The best approach is to pick a direction and move forward. Could be the wrong direction, but once you realize that, you can course correct. Staying in one place will not suddenly help you know what path is right for you. No amount of analysis beats taking action, setting goals, and figuring out what feels right to you. At least that has been my experience. Pick some goals, decide what you want, and take steps to move toward them. If your goals change or you feel a different goal is more important, you can always adjust as you go along. Story 74. Last year, around 30 to 31, I needed a wake-up call to grow up a little bit, and that is exactly what I got. A lot of growth, a lot of depression, a lot of solitude, and finally, I feel like I have direction, goals, and the work ethic to reach them. I always felt like I would hit my stride around 34, and that seems to be the case now. Story 75. It seems your only problem is not knowing what to do with your extra money. Focus on becoming financially wise. The simplest book you can read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It will give you a primer on how to think about your money. Then start exploring more financial knowledge based on where you want to go with your money. You will find yourself gambling less and saving and investing more. You are probably gambling because you are bored and desire risk. Channel that energy into becoming financially wise. Stay busy learning and take a risk on yourself by growing past this stage. Godspeed. Story 76. The day my wife sent me the photos of the pregnancy tests. I wasn't lazy before, but I spent most of my time playing on my computer, which was borderline an addiction. My mental health was okay, but there wasn't a day that went by without an anxiety attack of some sort. I needed to make sure that when my child entered this world, I would improve myself. So I did. I finally landed a job that paid double what I made at my old job and allowed me to be home twice as much. This came from months of hard work, living paycheck to paycheck, which is not a fun experience when you have a family to provide for. On top of all this, I discovered why my brain and body seemed against me. It turns out I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder developed from childhood trauma. I was diagnosed, started medication, which was life-changing, and began therapy. I just want to be a good man for my wife and a dad my daughter can be proud of. Story 77. Ever heard the saying, fake it till you make it? That's most of us. We're still figuring it all out, but we do a fair job of putting on a show. Obviously, do what you need to do to stop the gambling problem. First, work on your savings. Sit down with your paycheck and figure out your monthly take-home pay. Add up all your absolute necessary bills such as water, electric, gas, and rent. These are expenses you cannot change and must pay no matter what. Next, review the bills you can change. For example, do you have a large car loan for a vehicle that exceeds your needs? Can you legitimately afford it? Do you need subscriptions like Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music? Or can you choose just one? Find at least $100, $500 if you can, and put it into a savings account that you do not touch until you have at least 3 months of expenses saved, ideally 6 months. This provides a cushion, so if something happens and you lose your job tomorrow, you have a few months of emergency funds to help you get a new job or adjust your spending habits to stretch this fund. If gambling is truly a problem, it is best to stop completely. If you can manage discipline and control, decide on a limit you are comfortable losing, maybe $100 per month or $50. Put that money into a separate account and only use that money for gambling. Never touch your savings or regular account for gambling. You may put your winnings back into the gambling account, but you must never use any other account to fund the activity. Story 78. I left home at 16 and spent a few uncertain years before becoming self-employed. You rarely make money working for someone else. I bought and renovated houses, got married at 21, had children at 25 and 27, and bought a mortgage-free 3-bedroom house at 26. I had no help from family, just a supportive wife and hard work. Then everything fell apart for 20 years. I started again, got it together, fell apart, got it together, learned, and kept my fingers crossed. Story 79. The hardest thing I ever heard from an old man in his 80s was, I was just a kid trying to live, learn, and have fun until I was in my 30s with a family. Then from 30 to 50, I had purpose and focus to see my family succeed. As my kids got older, my purpose shrank, and then I lost my wife when I was 67. After that, I felt just as lost as a scared 21-year-old. But now I had no hopes to get better in the future. My next big milestone was death. Story 80. I just turned 32 on May 4th. It was not on my birthday, but it was definitely around this time when some realizations started setting in. I was too self-destructive for my own good. So, with God's mercy and grace, I am reshaping my life for the better. Anyone who thinks they cannot get their life together just has not tried, in my opinion. I have fallen off the wagon countless times. You would think I would have learned by now, but I guess I had to stumble a bit to experience it all. Every time I buckle down, I am blessed beyond measure. I look forward to the day and all the days to come because I am rejuvenated and ready to move forward. Story 81. Stop the gambling for sure. I worked a union job where I saw many men retire at 65 and die 6 months later. I said to myself, not me. I got married to the best wife in the world at 29, and we save and have a 401k, but we don't let it rule our lives. I would rather go to music festivals now than have money in an account you can't spend. I told my kids, you are not getting anything from us. Story 82. No one can get their life completely together while they are alive. Challenges come and go. Just know how to navigate through situations. Story 83. That is when I fully got out of my party, drinking, and drug phase and became completely focused on finishing college and doing adult responsibilities. Shortly after, I also started dating the woman who is now my wife. Story 84. Tackle the gambling first. You have a job and housing today, but addiction can take all that away. You can do this. Also, have you considered changing jobs or moving to a different city? You are young, and 11 years is a long time in one situation. You might need more stimulation in your life more broadly. Story 85. Gambling is something to be cautious about, but I think there are surprisingly few people with all their ducks in a row. You probably have friends who understand their retirement savings plans wishing they had your income. It is all relative, I suspect. Story 86. I actually only started putting effort in a few years ago, but decided to restart and change careers because I did not want to be doing grunt-level work in my old age. That being said, when I was 35, I finally did the math. Having a company 401k and other accounts, I realized I was just sitting on about $115,000 as a single person with no debt. This definitely helped my decision to restart and work towards something better. Story 87. Spoiler from a man in his 50s. You are always still getting some of your life together. Everyone is figuring things out in one aspect of their life. Some are just better at hiding it. On gambling, you can get similar dopamine by watching the stock market go up and down. Go to Fidelity, Charles Schwab, or Vanguard and open a brokerage account online with whichever has the best new account bonus. You can probably do this with $100. Buy some stocks you like and channel the gambling energy into that. Instead of learning poker strategies or sports betting techniques, learn about Monte Carlo strategies to build a portfolio. You are young. Invest in technology companies and you can see real swings. Story 88. It started in my mid-20s and then my progress sped up when I moved out from home a few years later to a different state for a job where I did not know anyone. Trial by fire, so to speak, because it was up to me to do all the adult responsibilities. Story 89. I'm 41 and my life still isn't together. You just do your best and hopefully it works out for you. If it doesn't, you just keep trying. You can't control the world around you, but you can control how it affects you and your goals. Story 90. Moved out at 18 working a labor union job. Started my actual career at 22. Bought my first house at 25. Married shortly after. Have children. I am a couple of years older than you, original poster. Story 91. Throughout various stages of my life, many people have thought I had my life together, like I really had it all figured out. I have never had it all figured out. I have always been on the brink of disaster. Rest assured, the people you look up to who seem to have it all together are in the same situation as me. You never really get it all together, you just keep getting better at holding the pieces together. Story 92. Never. You are always going to be growing and learning. Also, my check engine list is on 24/7. Once in a while, I check the codes to make sure something serious has not come up. I need to replace my thermostat, which is sticking open. Story 93. Started this year. I will be 27 at my next birthday, and I will have my book with the union and all my debt paid off, including my car loan. Story 94. About 23 years old, I got a real job in information technology and started my professional career. It did not take long after that until I had bought a proper car, house, and dog. I am 33 now, and we are trying for a child. Story 95. The short answer is always now. While it is not the answer you want to hear, you have control over what your breaking point is and when you have reached enough. Until you feel enough pain, you will not get out of the boiling pan of water. Sometimes it is having someone else around to keep you accountable, to help you aspire to greater things, or literally having something snap, but you are always the final authority. I started around 30 when I tried getting more serious with my now wife. When I was going through rough times in my life which I could control less, these small life changes were things I could actually affect. Sometimes that is all you can get at the end of the day. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.